As the 2015 season comes to a conclusion in the world of the Outlaw Pulling Series, the Super Farm class finds 5 tractors in contention for the championship. Dave Roseboom is behind the wheel of Red Rock. Chad Andrews handles the Dakota Deer. The Someday tractor is driven by Chad Weisenkamp. Clayton Schmidt pulls with the Cornhusker Cadillac. And Norm Cavan is the driving force behind Magnum Force. Who will take the Super Farm crown? We'll find out next.
In the heart of the Midwest, there's a band of modern-day marauders. Mounted atop their beasts, they line up to throw down. They are outlaws.
Welcome to Wisner, Nebraska for Thunder by the River, featuring the Outlaw Pulling Series. We will be bringing you all of today's action. So, Dave, how does the chase shape up?
At the beginning of the season, 22 pullers lined up and traveled to 24 different hooks to find out who was going to make the top 5 in the pull-off to the championship.
To get it started, here comes Tom Delaney. He's out of Fremont, Nebraska. He calls his tractor Freedom.
Freedom, rock and roll, get it on. First one of the class. Spin and grin, front tire skipping. Pulling the motor down, you heard it choke right there at the end. He goes 287.06.
And Tom accepted his first pull, so we are underway. Our next puller is Jim Nabuda. He's out of West Point, Nebraska. His tractor is Unforgiven.
And he don't want to forgive nobody. He wants to take home all the goodies here at Wisner. Front end up in the air, just a lot higher than the other tractor, but not bad. A little more ground speed. Still drifting over to the left a little bit. Stretches it out a foot farther. Got a new leader at 288.01.
On the replay, check out his hands, the steering wheel, and how the tractor responds.
Yeah, when that right hand goes down, you're full throttle. Turning the steering wheel don't do much good when the front end's up in the air. Let's go down to Rick Carlson, check in with Jim Nabuda.
Jim, what would you have done different?
Nothing really. I would have left it the way it was, and it started taking me to the right a little bit. I had to ride the brake, but that track is a little bit uneven, and there's nothing I could have changed. I would have come back and done the same thing.
Arlen Jensen has a new tractor for the season. He calls it Springdale Deer.
Nice looking machine, and he has served notice. He said, guys, you're going to have to put up with me for a long time, and I got a runner. Squatting the rear tires, motor lugged, but is not giving up. Did not give up one little bit, a great distance. He goes to the lead at 3:02.13.
Okay, Dave, give me a little Super Farm 101 right from the launch.
Oh, just put the power down, pedal to the metal, and hope you got enough guts in the motor just like this one showed. That motor never give up, just kept on digging. You gotta like it when it goes that away.
Here comes Chris Andrews. He drives the Bruley Buck.
Chris doing the driving as the Andrews family's kind of swapped drivers around today. We got Chris on this one. Chad's gonna be on Dad's tractor later on, and Dad's having to watch on the side. So Chris doing a great job, taking a bouncing job. Oh, he's going where he don't want to go. Look at the tracks behind the sled. Going to be a disappointing distance for Chris, but he goes 284.56.
Dave, I saw during this pull, he was really working the steering wheel, but at the same time, bouncing up and down quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think he hit his brakes a little bit. He started one way and darted the other way. That ain't nothing that experience won't help him out later on down the road.
Hey, let's let it ride. This is Dave Asmus out of Hoskins, Nebraska.
The Let It Ride John Deere, the older style sheet metal, 4010, 4020 style sheet metal. Very experienced puller, been on the track quite a few times. A lot of weight up front. Look at all the weights up front. On these 9,200-pound tractors, he's carrying a ton up front, and he still choked the motor at 289.87.
Not only were the weights up front, is there any rule that says how far up front they can be?
Everything on a pulling tractor has a rule. If it moves, it's got to be shielded, and the distance on anything has got to be measured, and there is requirements on that.
And that will bring up Rodney Jedlicka. His tractor is Feedlot Special.
The Feedlot Special out of Schuler, Nebraska. International Power, rock and roll. Don't worry about that smoke coming out from underneath the hood. Oil burning off, little blow-by under the bottom. Another one of those motors that is not giving up, none whatsoever, and that shows you why. We got a new leader at 310 and 44.
Well, let's check out this ride. In fact, let's go on board.
Setting right above his clutch foot. Hear the motor whining, bringing out the horsepower, going down where the end flagman is and taking the lead right there.
Rodney, that's a keeper.
Yeah, it worked pretty good. We'll see what happens with the rest of the class now.
Pretty good. What would you have changed to make it awfully good?
Don't know.
Checking the leaderboard, Rodney is in the lead right now, but no title contenders have yet pulled. It's going to get very interesting. When we come back, Mike Dunclow will pull. He'll be driving Burning Bucks and a lot of good tractors to come.
This edition of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association is being brought to you by Willcross. Good product, good prices, good service. Precision Turbo, the world's foremost manufacturer of high-performance aftermarket turbochargers. O'Reilly Auto Parts, the professional parts people. And by Stage 8, the world's best locking fastener.
A great crowd on hand at a great event with great community support from people like Tom Feller.
Well, originally when it first started, they were looking for people to get involved or interested, and I'm always good for something good for the town and create excitement in your area. And you know, we're not a big city, so we don't have a lot of exciting things that go on. So this was a fun thing to get behind. We went out and raised 50, 60,000, I think it was at the time, to get it going. Well, we have it in our river park, which is it's a big park. It's got a lot of big trees and things. The pullers and the campers really like that. They got shade. And I have some property right next door to it, so it becomes the camper village. Our little camper town, I think, turns into about 400 people, which would be about half of the town as it is right now. So it's good for grocery stores, gas stations, and yeah, it's a big volunteer deal. You know, a third of our town volunteers to help there. And that's what it's all about. If you couldn't have the volunteers, you couldn't have the show.
I love it, and the whole community does get involved. Our next puller is Mike Dunclow. He's out of Pilger, Nebraska.
Burning Bucks, name of the machine. Giddy up, go to the other end of the track. You got 25 of these boys you got to outdo. Looking pretty healthy. He's burning the bucks right now. You see that little bit of a bounce, that tells you the motor's lugging just a bit and the clutch is having trouble getting a hold. Going to go into second place at 3:07 and 10.
A good look at the driver and a little bit of what it takes to get that tractor down at the other end.
Once again, you see him working that steering wheel, but hey, the front end's up in the air, but you got to drive it somehow.
Pride of the farm. This is Steve Cavan. He's a farmer and a mechanic by trade.
He's probably waved his hand over more tractors in this class than anybody else. Now, Steve's dad, Norm, is one of our top 5 contenders in the pull-off to the championship, so you know he's gathering information, going to send it back to Dad, who pulls later in this class. And he just flat run out of ponies right there. You seen the white smoke puff? He's asking for a pull-off tractor. He's got trouble at 2:91 and 15.
Pretty good looking International 5488, but wow, you're right, something did go wrong.
And it died awful fast, and when he asked for a pull-off tractor as fast as he did, he knew something broke, because poof, it went down way too hard, way too fast.
And that'll bring up Barry Spans. He's out of Hudson, South Dakota. Double Trouble Unleashed is his tractor.
Don't see this tractor a whole bunch. You get to see it more and more on the Outlaw circuit all the time. Good, sharp-looking tractor. You see the air horn right up in front, in between the two headlights. That's where the air's going in to the turbo. You notice he also didn't pick that front end up off the ground near like the other boys did, and the rear tires welded to the ground. Snuffed him out at 281 and 77.
And taking a look at his pull, it looks like he had the balance set pretty well on this tractor.
Just about right. Got the tire where I wanted to see it right there. The front tire skipping, but you notice it settles down right here at the end just a little too much. When you want the traction on the back end, he lost a little bit of it.
Never say never. This is Barry Peterson. This is part of a father-daughter team now. Notice he wears the pink 5-point harness.
Now, there's a lot of pink on the tractor, but that don't bother him none. Molly's happy when she's driving because she's got the pink. Dad's happy because he's getting to spin a tire. Little Case IH tractor, good, straight shot. Once again, using all the ponies in the Never Say Never as he goes 296.75.
Well, that is a good tribute to the daughter. It is a team effort, by the way. Pretty good pull.
Well, I tell you what, when it comes to family sport, the Outlaws are as family as you ever want to see, just like father and daughter right here. You just don't find anybody better to run with than the Outlaws or the Petersons.
Coming up next is Dave Roseboom. He is the first of our top 5 contenders to pull.
The year-end points race is going to start heating up right now. The pull-off to the challenge, this guy comes into this pull in number 4 in the year-end points, has to have a good pull to put pressure on the rest of the guys. And they're going to run out of ponies. He goes number 3, not a bad hook, at 304 and 94.
Well, I think his reputation preceded him. I mean, that experience really paid off here, Dave.
I'm telling you, for a fact, when the Roseboom shows up with the Red Rock, it's tuned up right. Let's go down to Rick Carlson.
Dave, it's a 304. How much is that going to help?
Well, I guess it ain't quite enough sitting in third right now, but yeah, tough track out there.
Checking out the leaderboard, it's internationals. First, third, and fifth place, Dave Roseboom, one of your top 5 contenders. He's in third. We'll be back with more Thunder by the River. Stay with us. Welcome back to Wisner, Nebraska, and Thunder by the River. A great crowd on hand today. And our next puller in Super Farm will be Phil Kleinheslink. He's out of Alton, Iowa.
Doctor's orders, a 185 white. Now, there's a brand you don't see very much of on the pulling track anymore. The white tractors made their debut years ago, was very good, but lost ground to the red and green. Trying to make their way back. Going to snuff it out at 264.68.
Yeah, Dave, when we check out the replay for Phil, I think we had liftoff.
Yeah, the front end got way too high. The wheelie bars went down, got in the dirt, unloaded the tires. Then when it caught back up, it just loaded the motor too much for him to be able to handle.
Up next is Dustin Platty. He is your 2005 Rookie of the Year, and his tractor is called Turbo Up.
Now, he's sitting on Dad's tractor today. Most usually Dad's driving the Turbo Up, but Dustin's got driving duties today. Way over next to that white line on the right side. And he's working his way across, got over in the center of the track where it's pretty hard bite. As you heard Porter say earlier, that is a hard track out there, and he just found out why.
Yeah, not only did he end up over at the right, but looks to me like, Dave, he went right, left, right, left.
Yeah, he was trying to hold it, steering it with the brakes. You've seen it jerk a couple of times. He was trying to hold it over there on that right side. It didn't want to stay, so he was smart enough to let it go where it wanted to go.
This is Chad Andrews. He's driving for his dad, Alan. And this is the Dakota Deer.
This is your 2013 points champion, your 2014 runner-up almost. And now we got father-son doing the driving as Alan drives the Dakota Deer, as well as Chad trying to get this contender up in the points race for this year. He goes second place. He missed first place by 0.78 of a foot as he goes 309 and 66. Done Dad proud.
This was a fantastic pull, and he set the sled right in the center of the track.
He knew where the firm part of the track was. He knew where the traction was. He looked over to the checkered flag to see how close he was. Let's go to Rick Carlson.
Chad, did you give it all that it had?
Oh yeah, of course. It is Dad's tractor, and I haven't drove it for 7 years, so I came out as hard as I could.
And that will bring up Chad Weisenkamp driving someday. Well, today he is your defending points champion.
And he's got to defend it hard and fast. He comes into this show number 2 in the points race for the overall year end. And this man has got determination. This man will run hard with the Someday tractor. Straight, never give up. Motor burning, motors turning, looking good. And we got a new leader at 3:14 and 95.
Looking at this replay, he was on it from the very beginning, and he didn't let up until he just absolutely had to.
Oh, what a run. He and the tractor both knew where he had to get to. Let's go down and just see how happy he is.
Moving into the lead, Chad.
Yeah, I don't know how long it'll hold up, but we'll take it while it lasts.
Checking out the leaderboard, 3 of our top 5 points contenders are in positions 1 through 5. And with only 10 feet separating those 5, anything can happen. Our next puller will be Keith Seidler, and that will be when we come back.
This edition of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association is being brought to you by VP Racing, Macon Power, Agency 212, we don't believe in following trends, we unleash new ideas, Sap Brothers, welcome, be our guest, and by Dustless Blasting, it's the future of surface preparation.
Welcome back to Thunder by the River. A great crowd on hand today in Wisner, Nebraska. And our next puller will be Keith Seidler. He's out of Council Bluffs, Iowa. His tractor is called In the Way.
Council Bluffs, a place where we've got a new pull at this year. He was proud to pull there, and he done a great job. Brand new tractor for the year. Hadn't got around putting the name on the side shields yet, but it'll get there. Using all the ponies that he could muster, everything is under the hood. He put it on the track at 270 and 94.
Just didn't seem to really take off with a lot of speed. Is the track changing at this point?
Oh, the track could be changing just a little bit, but with the new tractor on the track, still finding out where you got to get some more ponies at, you just used them all up right there.
Eric Groney up next. He's a farmer and mechanic. His tractor is Husker Hooker.
Now, here's a guy that's going to do a little something different. He went to the left, drove it to the right, and then he settled down in the center. When you see the smoke starting to go away, you always want to watch the smoke on these tractors. When the smoke goes away, your power goes away, and he settles in at 287 and 20.
Well, I think the key there, Dave, is he ended up in the center, but he used up quite a bit of the track getting there.
Yeah, and I think the boys have figured out one thing. They know where the traction is in that one spot, right in the center of the track down where the flagman's at.
And that'll bring up another one of our title contenders. This is Clayton Schmidt driving the Cornhusker Cadillac.
Sharp looking tractor. And this kid come on with a vengeance this year. Here's one of the boys that said, hey, I am here to run at the title. And he is doing that for a fact. He comes in number 3. Another one of those tractors that the motor did not give up. Motor did not give up at all. And he goes number 2 right now. 3:14 and 13. This class is getting tight.
Man, that deer was really running like a Cadillac. Check it out. He is pretty much right in the center of the track, straight and true.
Not a bad pull at all. Let's go down to Rick Carlson and see what Clayton thought about it.
Clayton, oh, so close, 3:13.
Yeah, I don't know. We probably should have changed something up. I don't know what it would have been. I guess driving out of the hole probably got it there.
Well, let's turn it blue. This is Brett Roberts, a family-run tractor. This is a New Holland T8050.
Yeah, you never know who you're going to see in the seat, whether it's going to be Sister Marky or Dad Mark, but today we got Brett, Spanky's toy, a guy that is always right there knocking on your back door. Don't cut him no slack. He'll take it away from you. Used all the ponies out at the distance of 306 and 90.
Came up just a little bit short, but it was a pretty good pull.
Well, you don't see many New Holland tractors just like the whites, but the New Holland boys are coming on stronger every day. They're getting the airflow in the heads, and this tractor is a top contender anywhere you want to go with him.
And that will bring up Rick Engelmeyer. He's out of Beamer, Nebraska. His tractor is called Ultimate Muscle.
The Ultimate Muscle Case IH 245. Little bit of a bounce. You don't like to see that bouncing on the rear end because that costs you distance on the other end. And he bounced so many times he got the motor at 306.48.
We go to the replay. What caused all of that bouncing?
Could have been the gear selection, the RPM of the motor, the clutch setting, the air pressure in the rear tires. See how those rear tires are bulging? It's just too much bounce for the motor to be able to handle it all.
One puller remains, and he is your 2014 Western Farm Show champion. This is Norm Cavan.
Not only is he a past champion, he is a guy that is in the middle of this pull-off championship. The race, the pull to the championship is all on this pass right here, could be, because he comes in number one spot, and with a good run right here, he could retain number one. I'd like to see that white smoke. See what the distance is going to be, 3:25.40. Hey, he takes the lead with this run.
This was a fantastic run. Front wheels up just a little bit right there, but not too much.
I'm sure he didn't want to drive over to the center that hard and fast, but hey, when you go number one, who cares? On this angle, take a look at the rear tires. See those gray marks on the side where those tires had wrinkled before? That's what you want to see. You want to see those tires wrinkling like what they're doing right there, picking up. Now, you remember earlier in the show, Steve Cavan pulled. I'm sure they give Dad some pointers on how to wake the tractor.
Checking out final results, 4 of the top 5 were title contenders. That experience pays off.
Norm, 325 a win. You sat and watched everybody else. Did that help?
Oh, sometimes it'll confuse you, but we just kind of stick with what we know with the tractor and try not to watch others. We don't know what they're changing, and it's been success. We're happy. Never know, last took, first took might do it, but this time it was last.
Norm Cavan showing his experience not to get away from his game plan, and when the smoke all cleared at the end of the year, Norm Cavan, Magnum Force, was our points winner. Overall for the year, Chad Weisenkamp finished up in number 2.
And once again, Wisner, Nebraska being the deciding force for the year-end points championship. And that'll put a wrap on it today from Wisner, Nebraska, Thunder by the River. Now for Rick Carlson and Dave Bennett, Claude Wood, so long, see you next time.